What is up? What is up, guys? Man, it is time for the House of Dragons. Came out, a couple hours ago. We give everybody a little bit of time to be able to watch it. So if they want to come in here, they can and talk to us with us as we talk about the episode and whatnot. I do have the Streamlabs open, so if you send anything in, it'll come up on the notifications there. So we're good to go there as well. If you haven't, like and subscribe to the video. Because on this channel, man, we cover House of Dragon, we cover an Andor. We're covering like all the big shows out there that we get a chance to do. And this is one of them. And this is a very important episode, Caleb. Very important episode. A lot of things going on in this episode. But like overall, man, like, in general, like how did you like this episode?
Nah, I really like this episode. And you get like a reset of not just, of this whole time skip going forward. But you get reset just in getting used to these new actors and actresses, obviously older versions of the previous versions of these characters. So it's like a whole new reset, catching up with what the hell's going on right here. But I always think they do a good job of getting through all that stuff pretty quick and setting up things to come. That's why I really like they do whether it's Game of Thrones or the House of Dragon, they do all that. Yeah, like I said, I think the new actors did a pretty good job. I'm liking them at least for this episode. So overall, I thought it was pretty good, and I just like I said, setting up things. I know stuff about to happen, so it's me excited.
No, yeah, like I totally think that this show does a great job. Like I was a little worried when I heard there was going to be time jumps and stuff because of a lot of other shows try to do this. It probably fails. It doesn't do as good as it possibly can. And like this is one of those things to where I think they've done a really good job, like setting you up for it and everything. I will say, like the end of last episode, you think that the king died because like the way he falls out and stuff like that, but no, he's just super weak. And that dude, bruh. Like couldn't find a good picture, but this is like of a couple episodes ago. This dude like started out looking like that, but now he looks like the Grim fucking Reaper. I mean, he looks beat up. He's missing fingers and stuff in some of the episodes, and now he's like missing like it looks like part of one of his arms. Like it's went so far up one of his arms, it looks like they may have had to like cap it off at the elbow or something. It looks like that's pretty interesting and everything else. But I do think they've done a good job, like I said, of setting you up for the 10-year gap. Like they set you up during this whole thing is they're getting to the players. They wanted to start at a certain section to be able to set you up for the big players in this show, like the Daemons and Rhaenyra's and Alicent and stuff like that. They wanted you to be able to see those people at one point in time in their lives. And then they had to do a skip towards where we get in some of the actual other major players involved, which is all these kids that are being born. Now you got like, Tumel from Alicent's side, that's obviously got the blonde hair and stuff like that from looks more like Targaryens. And then you have Rhaenyra, her like side has got the brown hair because obviously she been fooling around with a little something, you know what I'm saying? Like and everything else. But like I said, they set it up pretty good with that. I have not been confused at one time. Now, some of that may be that I knew some of this going into it. So like I would like to have seen someone who like doesn't watch like Game of Thrones or like House of Dragons or anything like that, and like have them kind of sit there and go, hey, like was it confusing to them? Like, did they like get what was going on and everything? And I thought it was cool too that so far this season they haven't had any like messages on the screen before the show starts, like 10-year ahead or whatever.
Yeah.
They've always made up.
I don't think it's necessary because I think that.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. They put it in the show.
They mention pretty quick,
right. Well, they mention the time gaps like in the show in a creative ways. Like during normal dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been 10
exactly.
years.
I mean, they say it enough. Like, this been 10 years since this happened. 10 years and 10.
Yeah.
You repeatedly say so. I mean, if you're just listening, you can get the point.
Right. So we open up like the first episode of this season. Like you had the big birth scene that happens that a lot of people talked about and discussed and everything else. And we jump 10 years and we open up with another birth scene. There's actually a couple of birth scenes in this actual film, or one try to have a birth and one actual birth scene in here.
Yeah, and that very much relates, both these birth scenes relate to what happened in the first episode. It very much correlates, like, you know, this happened like 10 years apart, but it's like the same thing.
But yeah, like I actually think that 100% that like you just said, it kind of correlates. You have a regular childbirth, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a hard childbirth just because of the time period it's in. You know, you don't have the doctors and the hospitals and stuff that we have like today that makes things a little bit easier. So you have those birth scenes in the first one. Then we had the one that later in the show that didn't work out, that the baby wasn't wanting to come. And you had the same kind of option that they tried to do at the very first episode. That option was laid out before Damon, and Damon, like, you know, you think of him as this evil guy, right? Like you thinking this dude's going to be evil just because of the way he looks and how he acts in some ways. But then like in this moment, he's like, nah, bro, he doesn't even really. Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't even like kind of even contemplate like doing that. Like when he asked him, will she survive? And he says like, you know, most likely not. Like he doesn't even contemplate like doing it at that point. He just like, okay, well, we're not doing that.
Well, I think he was going to do that. That's why she ran the fuck out of there and didn't even give him the.
I don't know. She ain't really ran out of there. She
ran the fuck out of there.
She's in a bad position.
I ain't giving you the option. I'm gonna do it myself, because you want to tell me that you won't kill me.
So you actually think Damon was going to do that regardless? Because I don't think so. I think that she realized what kind of position she's in, because if the baby doesn't come, they don't even know if it could be. If the baby doesn't come, they don't know if they can have it survive, like we noticed in the first episode of the series. And then, you know, like at that point, if she can't get the baby to come out, she's going to die anyway. You can see all the blood and stuff, like where she was still bleeding from trying to be in the middle of childbirth, and the baby's just not coming. I think she actually chose to do that because she's Valyrian, and because she's like, you know, one of the dragon riders. And she's like, the way I need to go out, it's not to be done this way or just die in the bed, is to be, you know, go out in flames. Like, I actually think that was like her decision on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was her decision. I just think she didn't even want to give him the choice of making a decision whether he was going to.
I mean, I saw it differently. I saw like that he actually didn't really contemplate. To me, it didn't seem like he was going to make that decision of like trying to cut the baby out, because for one, he's not as like, you know, like in the first episode, we had the king at that point so hungry to get an heir, right? He wanted an heir so bad. And I don't think Damon at this point cares, right? Like as far as like trying to make heirs and everything, because he's kind of settled over there. It looks like somewhere in Pentos or whatever over there, like chilling, because like he's got gold, he's got dragons. They're almost acting like he's almost a king over there and stuff. And like, he's kind of enjoying it, just being outside of it and not worrying about that crap no more because of everything that's happened so far in like Westeros. But we'll go back to the beginning here, because I think something to talk about is the badassery that occurs. Like, you've read some of the story, but I don't know, like, if you've actually caught up to where we're at in the show, or even gotten further now than where we're at in the show. But like, I never thought, like, the one thing I thought that was crazy in these episodes and the show so far is that there was like a gray area. There's been these gray areas of like, do you actually like which group to root for, really? Like, you didn't know like Allison, is she somebody to root for? Rhaenyra, like, is she somebody to root for? The king, in some cases, was he somebody to root for? There was Damon, for instance, like, is he somebody to root? Like, you really didn't know 100% because nobody has portrayed themselves as being pure evil. Now, I will say that attitude starts to change in this episode, but I actually started like backing Rhaenyra up big time, because like she gives birth, and then the queen wants to see the baby for obvious reasons, because like her other two kids doesn't look Targaryen. She's trying to get a look at this new baby to see if it's another baby that's probably done out of wedlock, you know, kind of like a bastard kid. So she's like, I want to see the baby like immediately, kind of thing. And Rhaenyra's not going to let the baby just get over there by herself. She actually gets up and like right after giving childbirth, like literally she's trying to get dressed, and the afterbirth comes out during this whole situation, and like not only walks to the room to the queen, Allison, she actually like has to go up some flights of stairs to make it. That's pretty badass. Like I was like, oh shit, okay, she's a lot stronger than maybe people would think. You know what I'm saying? Like we always knew she was kind of a rebellion because she wanted to go out and do all these different things and didn't really care as much about being the heir. And then like, but in this instance, we really get like, no, she's kind of a badass.
Yeah, I mean, she's walking through all types of pain going through that, but she was not gonna let her kid just be alone with her because she knew what the queen wanted. But I back to whether you root for her or not, but I don't think there is someone to root for, to be honest. Like I think they're all pretty shady. She's still, I mean, she's still shady because she slept with someone else. Like she ain't being true, she's lying.
Yeah, but you can kind of. But Caleb, you can kind of understand, I think, like why she's doing this is because of the whole fact that they wanted to force her to be married, which ain't cool. They were forcing her to be married, which ain't cool, right? And then like, so she doesn't.
I mean,
really
she screwed that up herself.
Then,
like that was on her. She screwed up. Right. She didn't want to marry anyone. She didn't want to marry this dude and that dude. She gave them all choices. They gave her chances. She's the one that screwed all that stuff up. That was on her.
I think that eventually. I think eventually she made a choice for the realm, right? She made a choice. She thinking she's doing the right thing by marrying who she married to try to bring about, make sure there's peace and keep the house strong and everything else. But with that, she made that play.
But then she found it out. So like, oh, I can go screw wherever I want because I'm selfish. I'm gonna do what I want. That's what she wants. That's all she wants. I want to do what she wants and take care of herself. And that's why she sleeps with this dude, doesn't take care of her own and for her own lineage and have her own, down the line type of who can sit on the throne after her. That's all she's trying to do is set up for herself. She ain't worried about the realm.
That's a little true, but at the same time, like, she with a dude that ain't wanting to sleep with nobody but men. So like she's gonna have children.
True, but that's what she agreed on. But
I don't see it that being that bad or being that selfish because her and the man that she's with, the king or the one that would be king when she becomes queen, like they had a pact basically with each other, right? Like they actually knew that before they ever got married. So like to me,
she cool with that pact because she get to sleep with who she wants. So why would she not want that? That's pretty damn selfish. That ain't for the realm. Sleeping with whoever she wants is not for the realm.
We'll go ahead and discuss it because like she's sleeping with one of the strong boys, and that's who she chooses to sleep with because Christian Cole and her ain't on good basis no more. I mean, matter of fact, Christian Cole and the queen. Are best friends right now. They hanging out. It wouldn't surprise me if they be like in the bed doing it, everything else. Be honest with you, man, because look at that look in each other's eyes right here. You know what I'm saying? Like Christian Cole done switched teams, all right, and he's become like a kind of like a punk, man. Like to be honest with you, like he's one of those characters where it looked like they were setting up that this guy was going to be like a really good guy to watch. Maybe he's even like a really honorable man and everything else. But when we get to this episode, we jump forward 10 years after he beat a guy to death, which I don't understand. Like, why in the hell he didn't get thrown in some kind of prison or at least taken off the King's Guard or something? Like, because literally he just beat a dude to death. Like where was that even at? Like, what kind of discussions were had about that at all, period? But he's still in the King's Guard. He's still like probably the queen is keeping him in the King's Guard is one of the reasons why he's still there. But like the thing is like, yeah, man, he's kind of became a little punk right here. Like I don't like his attitude, man. Like you did all this shit wrong. You did all this crap wrong like 10 years ago, and you over here trying to act like you holier than thou. Now, bro, get out of here, dude. Get out of here. Yeah. But what do you think about Christian Cole, man, and like what he's out here doing?
He tried to ride away, start talking shit because he's all salty because she didn't want to be with him, whatnot. Like that dude's a bitch. Even he was a bitch even when he was like training his kid when they were in the training session. Obviously, he was favoring the Queen's kids over Rhaenyra's kids, and he sits there, gets his ass kicked by the Harwin Strong. So yeah, that dude whack.
Yeah, like dude, for real, 100%. Like I kind of agree with some of that and everything else, but Christian Cole, like, yeah, he turned a blind eye at all that shit he did back in the day, right? So like, it's one of those things. Like he's one of those people now I want to see get bitch slapped. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to see him get slapped across the face, like and we got to see that in this episode, which I thought was cool. He got his ass beat. Like, let's don't lie, because what's his name? It starts with
Harlan
an H.
Strong.
Harlan Strong beat the total living crap out of this dude at one point during like a training session and everything else. I was trying to get a good picture of that actually during, not of the beatdown, but of like the training session, because like one of the things in that training session that we do need to talk about is something they subtly put in there. It was like not real, like they didn't like beat you in the head with it. But if you noticed how the boys were dressed according to who they were, you had like the Queen's kids. They were all dressed in like green underneath a little bit of armor stuff they were wearing. And then you had the princess's kids dressed in like black, a mixture of black and red. But like that's actually a big thing, because like basically what starts to happen is you have two segments that start sprouting up. You have the greens and the blacks. And that actually is already being portrayed right there in that little training session where you have the two groups of boys like doing their thing. And in their training session or whatever, trying to like train with the swords and stuff like that, which I thought was a pretty cool scene overall. And then, like I said, Christian Cole, this dude right here being that punk, ends up getting slapped down like with the quickness whenever he starts running that mouth. Because like I said, man, he's over here trying to give a guy crap because like he might be having kids at a wedlock kind of situation. Whereas he was doing the same, he did the same thing basically. Like he broke his king's honor, guard's honor code and everything else. Like I don't see how he even gets away with even saying nothing like
that. Yeah, I thought it was funny. Even the younger son of Rhaenyra's sons was taking on the oldest son of the Queen's oldest son. Like he had more fighting to him. So I thought that part was dope because he tried to take him on, even though Chris Cole's trying to tell him to do dirty stuff. But
I mean, he's obviously playing favorites here. He's playing favorites with the Queen's actual children over the princess's children. That's obviously
but it's funny because he did, but Cole did get him. He got him. It was like, oh, well, why you favor Rhaenyra's son? Because maybe they're your sons, and so he called him out on it.
No, I get that, but like it's like, bro, you doing the same thing over here. Like I said, I mean, he's over here being a little whiny brat because like she told him no on that boat. You know what I'm saying? An episode or two ago when he tried to go to Princess and be like, yo, we can just go away. Basically, he wanted to do what Damon's doing right now, to be honest with you. Like get out of that whole situation, go to like somewhere like Pentos or whatever and just chill and like be happy together. And she said, hell no. And he's mad as hell about it, man. He's trying to do everything he can to just be this little whiny punk, you know what I'm saying? And then they get in a fight. We obviously see the devastation of that because home dude gets beat up pretty bad, spitting out blood and everything else. Talking about Christian Cole, but we'll go ahead and talk about it because I brought it up a couple times already. But you got Damon over here in the Pentos area. He's with his new wife, which was set up in the last episode, and everything else. They've been married now for a little while, and they've actually had a couple of kids themselves, both their daughters. She's pregnant again with a third kid, and you can see, as you can tell right here in the picture. But like, I actually think like this couple is one of the best couples like in the actual series so far. But I mean, we know what happens at the end because we talked about the second birth. But his wife goes to have that third child, and she has problems. She goes outside and has her dragon like burn her alive. Basically, she wants to go out that way and everything else. But yeah, I mean, I actually do think that before that part that they actually seemed like a cohesive unit. I mean, obviously she wanted to go back to Westeros and he's trying to chill. But besides that, you take that part out of it, it seemed like they actually enjoyed each other's company, liked being together and everything else. Unlike, the Queen's just there because her dad put her in that position. She ain't happy having to, basically be beside almost a zombie because like shit, his ass is falling apart. But yeah, man, like, what do you think about like what Damon's doing, and what do you think about what Damon's probably going to do after like the episode?
Well, I think Damon, honestly, was kind of good with what happened, to be honest, because I don't think he really wants to be there. I mean, like he said, he wants to just chill and just do whatever, but it's only because he knows what's going on over there that he can't be a part of it. But if he can find a reason to go back to doing all that, then he's gonna go right back over there because that's who he wanted. Like he said it right out there, like 10 years before. He said he wanted to marry Rhaenyra. That's what he wants. He wants to be king over there. That's what he really wants. He's just saying all that I want to chill over here just because I can't do it now, but if I get the opportunity, when the opportunity is shown, and the opportunity is going to show to him, now that he's not married anymore, and now that he can go back, that hey, he's got a reason, he's got an out, and he's going to take what he wants now.
Yeah, so basically, the setup was we had the birth of Rhaenyra's third kid start the show, and then we understood that the queen and everybody and other people realized that all these ain't kids of her husband. You know what I'm saying? So like you have that stuff going on. Then you got Damon over there in Pentos, like we just got through discussing. We had like the boys training. There's a thing where the boys I thought was really cool, where one of the boys is being taught like how to actually like try to take give commands to his dragon, because he's got a dragon. Obviously, it's still like a little dragon and everything else. So he's like learning. I thought that was a really cool scene when they went down to the dragon pit, basically, and they had the dragon handlers and the kids. Like I said, the one kid was trying to learn some of the things and everything else. Now, while that's going on, we got Aegon, which is the older kid of the queen, and then we have Aegon, and they're down there. The princess's two boys, and the older queen's boy, like kind of all tag teams on the one outsider, like Aemon, and like because he doesn't have a dragon yet, and what have you. So like they play a joke on him where they dress up a pig as like a dragon and everything else. That's one of the things. It's like, bro, like what's going on here? And like that the older one, though, in that scene, the older kid is the one that probably put this all together, because he had the most fun out of all of it. Like he was the one laughing harder than even the other kids and stuff like that. Like, so he had a big part in there. And that leads into a scene where the queen walks into her older son's room, who happens to be like masturbating, hanging out the window.
Just out the window, bro.
Yeah, bro. He's like out there doing the thing outside the window, son. Yeah, he ain't giving a damn. I mean, like he's just out there hanging out a tower window, like jerking the stuff. And the queen walks in and like basically has a talk like, hey, family's more important. You got to stick together with the family. So like, okay, whatever. You don't like your brother as much, or you thought it was going to be funny, but like that embarrassed our family. That embarrassed one of the members of the family, which embarrasses the whole family, which I thought was a really cool and good thing to have discussed. But what did you think about the kids? Like the new kids, I thought they acted really well. I thought they did their job in the show. I didn't see any flaws in the kid actors or anything like that. So, but like, what did you think about these kids and like those kind of things that they did there in the show?
No, it just shows that he really don't get it yet. That hey, I mean, we're not on the same team right now. We're on this team. You got to protect your family, which is your brother. You got to protect your team. Like you can't be with playing around with her kids and being on their side, like because there's clear differences. Because when the war goes down, like they ain't gonna be on your side. We gonna be over here. They're gonna be over there, and we can't be
right.
You have to protect your brother. Don't worry about them. You gotta protect yours. That's what she's trying to get through to him. So it's just surprising that during this whole 10 years, you haven't gotten that through him sooner than this. You think you would have been playing that way before then, but I guess he still didn't just get it.
No, yeah, I totally agree with all that you just said right there. And one of the biggest things that happened, so like during that training session, which was a big part of the show, was them doing the training and the boys, and obviously Christian Cole siding with the queen, and obviously Aaron Strong like on the side with his kids, because that's his kids, but they're trying to like hide it and they're not letting everybody know about it. But that's his kids, so he's trying to like raise them properly and stuff like that too, and everything else. Him and Cole get in a fight, which causes him to like be ostracized from King's Landing. They're like, man, dude, you got to get back. You got to go back to Harrenhal. Well, his brother, I think it's his brother, right? The guy who's the hand of the king. He actually
that's his father.
That's his father. Okay, so like his father then is like, hey, I got to go to Harrenhal to conduct some business, because he actually was going to step down from being hand of the king because of what happened. Like he was like, yo, shame has been brought upon our family because of what happened and everything else, and I'm going to step aside and not be the hand. The king doesn't like that because he's a really good advisor. So like the king's like, nah, dog, like let's do our thing and let's still hang out. We're gonna still work together. And he's like, well, if that's the case, but I still need to go to Harrenhal to conduct some business. Okay, so they go and do their thing. But while all this is happening, we got this MFer right here. We got old Larry Strong. Like he's part of their family, but he's that guy with like the club foot that like can't walk straight or whatnot and everything else. So like it's kind of funny how like his last name is Strong because he's part of that family, but like, you know, he's got like a deformity and like which makes him not strong, you know what I'm saying, as far as like being able to be a soldier or like a knight or anything like that. But he's trying to be strong. He reminds me a lot of like he's probably well, not probably because during this episode we find out he's definitely a more evil version of what we got with Tyrion, because Tyrion was this guy that was a midget. So like he had to like basically raise himself up above all that, right? So like he had to be someone who could like use his brain
I was
and sharpen
thinking
his
more
skills with
Varys.
books and reading. No, here's the thing. He's a mixture. He's a mixture of the two because he's overcoming like something like a physical ailment that normally would not allow him to be in a very powerful position. So he's doing the things that Tyrion would do on one side by strengthening up his mind and his brain. But you're right. It is like his name's like Larys or whatever. Sounds a lot like Varys. So like he's got a lot of similarities between him as well, because like this is one of the things that's important about this show. You're really seeing the beginnings, because if you notice in the original Game of Thrones, they had an actual seat on the small council called the Master of Whispers. That was actually a spot on the council. That wasn't like some secret thing. That was something that the king actually used. And this is the beginnings of that actually being put in the court. Like, I don't know if he becomes that first one or if he's the guy who kind of starts it to where they start having those kind of people on the small council for the king, but or the queen, whichever way it goes. But like, he's the one that really starts all this stuff, because like he's doing this kind of like Master of Whispers kind of thing, right? Like where he's starting to get people that he can trust that can't bail him out, because he goes to the dungeons, grabs these 3 bad dudes, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be dying in a day or two, and says, yo, I'll grant you mercy, you will live, but the only way you live is if I get to cut that tongue off. So we saw a tongue get cut off in Game of Thrones fashion, and the craziest part was they didn't even freaking like swing it. The dude just put the knife on there after heating it up and just went down like he was slicing some butter, cut that tongue right off that dude's head. So obviously he's doing that because those guys can't talk. Like, and they're most likely because they were like, and you know, people like in the dungeon getting like killed, they most likely can't even write, you know what I'm saying, or maybe even read. And like we saw that in the Game of Thrones in the original version, there's still some people in that time period who wasn't able to read and write. So like these guys probably can't. So like there really is no way for them to give out any information. So whatever he tells them to do and they do, like it's going to be kept secret from their end. And so we had the people going to Harrenhal. We had this guy, Larry Strong, this guy right here in the picture with Alicent, and she's disheveled. But the reason why she is because he gets these 3 guys that he gets, you know, put into his service, and they go and set a fire, which then ends up killing the hand of the king, which isn't good because the king ain't going to be happy about that, and kills Harwin the Strong, who was the one that was sleeping with the princess, who was giving her these babies, these male children, because now she's got 3 male children and everything, like all in a row. And they both die in a gruesome fire scene where they basically get burned alive and everything else, which is like a big thing in this show right now, is that like, bam, you start to see some of the things that's going to fall because of this. Like, I almost can't wait for next week's episode, because now I know that shit's going to hit the fan. Like I said, the king's not going to be happy. The hand's dead. And now, obviously, the princess, soon to be queen, when the king dies, as far as we know now, going to be queen, obviously her lover is now dead. And it's kind of done. I mean, Alicent has this look, but it's kind of the way that she acted around Larry Strong and talked about things that he automatically assumed that she would want this. She tries to in this scene to be like, I didn't want them to die. Maybe she didn't want them to die. Maybe she didn't want that to actually happen, but like she did want something to happen, and this guy did it. And like he says, you know, whenever it becomes time, I'm pretty sure you'll reward me. So like, and I can't, this piece of shit right here, like he had he killed his own family, dude.
Yeah.
He killed his own family. Like he's a total piece of garbage. Like he is the guy that you obviously going to hate in this show. Like you said, the other characters, you don't know if you should hate them or root for them. That's kind of like in a gray area. Like I said, in this episode, I'm leaning more towards the blacks because like I think Rhaenyra like did, you know, and in this episode especially, I thought she did like some decent and smart things or just like right things. You know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily smart completely, but like it was trying to make the right decisions and stuff. And she was being tough and being strong, where I thought Alicent was kind of being like just underhanded already. She's already kind of starting to get jealous that her kids aren't going to be one sitting the throne. You can kind of tell she's starting to hate on that and everything else. And she was always trying in this whole episode, trying to get Rhaenyra like stab her in the back in some kind of way, whether it be like put out the information that these kids aren't like, these kids are bastards and they're not actually kids from the marriage, or just any other thing that she wanted to do.
But I mean, I don't see that as wrong. Like I see that as like that's what you're supposed to do, because they are bastards. They're not the rightful heirs. And then she knows how the realm feels, that they don't want her as heir, and they know that a lot of people will be against that. So I don't feel that she is the one that's wrong. That's why I said there is no wrong one or the good guy or the bad guy in this. They're all pretty shady. I think Rhaenyra is being shady by lying and doing all the stuff she's doing and doing all the strategic maneuvers that she's trying to play at. I don't feel like that's for the realm. Like I said, I think that's very selfish, and she's only playing how can she get her way to the throne? How can and how she can protect that? I don't feel like that's for the realm at all. I actually think more Alicent is more for the realm. It just happens to help her out and because and her family and her kids. The fact that
so you telling me that you standing up for Alicent right now?
I'm not standing up for her. I just told you I don't think that anybody's a good guy or the bad guy. I'm just calling how I see it. That seems more like for the realm, considering the realm.
I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong completely 100% yet, and that's one of the fun things I'm having with this show is like trying to figure that out. That's like one of the cool things about the show so far is like everybody else spoon feeds you. Oh, this is the bad guy or this is the good guy. You know, it's a split, right? I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know where you're supposed to be, right? So you're either going to be a person like me that sometimes roots for the bad guys, but you know they're the bad guys. Like there's no anything in between. And I do think that this show's got the most in between I've seen in a show in a very long time, if ever. Because I don't necessarily, when I say I'm rooting for Rhaenyra like a little more, that's not really me saying that she's a completely 100% right or that she's the good guy in this. I actually think that she just showed me a couple of things in her character that I align more with than what Alicent's doing. You know what I'm saying? Alicent to me is kind of like a complainer, kind of like trying to do things kind of shady and underhanded and everything else. And she's being more of that person that's trying to like get more on the throne. It's like she's trying to be more of a Cersei type, right? Where she knows she can't technically be on the throne, but she wants one of her kids to be on the throne. So it would be like she's on the throne. She's starting to get that hunger, man. She's starting to get that Game of Thrones fever where you're trying to get on that iron throne. I only think she wants to go against
more just go against Rhaenyra just because she knows she lied to her and she ain't getting over that shit. I guess
I don't think she lied, man. Like that.
We disagree on that, but absolutely, I think she lied.
She didn't lie, man. Because like when you say
she did lie,
like if I went up to you, Caleb, and I knew you was dating this girl, man, you know, maybe it was a girl I used to date or something, right? Or, you know, just something like that. The reason why I would even care. And I'm like, hey, Caleb, you be touching that girl? You know what I'm saying? And you said, and hold on.
Yeah, I goddamn fucking touched her.
No. Hold on, Caleb. So I'm like, so you touching this girl? You know what I'm trying to get out there. It's really about the sex. Like basically me asking, like, you having sex with this girl, and you be like, nah, because like in real life, right? Like in this story, in this fictional story, you haven't done anything with that girl sexually. Now you may have kissed on the cheek, maybe a little peck on the lips, maybe I'll held hands or something like that, but you ain't had sex. Like you're gonna be like, you're gonna tell me like, nah, dog, like I haven't done none of that. Like it ain't went to that far. Like the same thing that Rhaenyra did. Like I don't think she did what she did was wrong. I don't think she lied.
I think she completely fucking lied. She obviously fucking hooked up. You hooked up. Like that's it. That's you hooked up. You fucking lied. That's why I think she.
Well, she didn't hook up with Damon. She didn't hook up with
fucking
Damon.
hooked up. What the fuck do you call that? That's fucking hooking up, bro.
Like with Damon, I ain't hooking up. Like you got.
That's hooking up, bro. You have your fucking pants down. You fucking ain't hooking up.
Hold on, man, come on, dog. Like she was still a virgin walking out of that. That ain't hooking up.
My God. Like
get out of here.
That's
dude.
fucking hooking up. That's you fucking lied.
Wow, dude.
Every right to be after your fucking ass, and if she fucking do all this stuff because she's still mad because you fucking lied to her, then damn right. And it, like I said, it's still for the realm because the realm rather have her fucking son as the heir than Rhaenyra. So it is still for the realm, but it's for her family too, and to get back at her. So yeah, she's doing what she can because she doesn't have like real power because she she ain't the king, she's the queen. So she's doing what she can to expose her ass.
All right. So because we got off schedule, we had like one or two of these that we had to do like on a different day. And people was like me with COVID. You've had your own health things going on. I had the diabetes diagnosis and everything else. We got a little out of whack there. So like I said, we're going to probably be on schedule for the rest of the season right here, at least pretty close to it, as long as nothing else happens. But with that being said, let's get back to where we used to do at the end of the episode. Caleb, what was your favorite scene in the episode?
Seeing the dragon pit as it was, because obviously we see in Game of Thrones, we see the dragon, it's already messed up. Like obviously that happens later on in the histories, showing that I don't know if they're ever going to show that how the dragon pit flows up, but we get to see the dragon pit of how it is and how they actually train the dragons. I thought that was really cool. I never got, you never really got to see that in any of the Game of Thrones stuff. So seeing all that stuff was really cool to me. Just because I like the whole history of the whole Game of Thrones world and that little piece. Actually seeing that is cool to me.
My favorite scene is why, like I said earlier, that I was leaning towards Rhaenyra, like as far as someone to be like sort of rooting for or whatever over the other ones. And that was because like how badass like that is to be able to do what she did, have childbirth, it literally be over with seconds ago, and be able to like the determination and will and passion for her to protect her kid. For one, like you said, you don't want that kid by thatself, like with the queen, because you don't know. Like I don't think she would have had it killed or anything, but you never know. For her to like want to be there with her kid and everything else, and to go up them stairs and stuff right after childbirth, like that was kind of like, I was sitting there the whole time going like, dude, this is badass. Like she literally did one of the most badass things in the Game of Thrones as far as like willpower and strength than a lot of the dudes in the show has done, like even during a battle or a war, like right there. Because straight up 100%, that's you got to have some just straight up, like, I don't even know what to call it. Can't call it balls, like just inner fortitude or something, man. Like just crazy out of this world to be able to do what she did. Now, with that being said, what scene do you think is the most important going out of this?
Probably like the training scene, like you said. That's basically what started the whole conflict. I mean, the reason why they had to leave, why Harwin Strong had to leave, why Rhaenyra had to leave. I mean, basically, it started everything. That whole conflict right there. It's like the moment where it's like, okay, well, now stuff is going down. We know, we know who knows who knows who's who and what is what. And like you said about the green, they're wearing green, they're wearing black. We know the sides and stuff going down. That was the kind of the shot heard around the world. If you think about it like that, that's gonna start the war.
Yeah, the Matt with the Jakara's statement here is whenever the lady went before her dragon and asked her dragon to burn her, and the dragon didn't want to do it. I thought that was actually a really cool scene. So that's probably like a second place one to me, Matt. Like that's pretty cool though that you.
And it's Vhagar too. Vhagar one. If y'all don't know, Vhagar is one of the original dragons
One of the big daddies.
Yeah, from
but he's a big daddy.
From Aegon the Conqueror and his two sisters. It was Valerian the Dread, obviously the biggest dragon, but Vhagar was his older sister's dragon. And we got to see that's why he's one of the biggest ones still alive. But yeah, he was one of the original ones that went to conquer all the the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, that's pretty badass. Yeah. That dragon been around for a long time, son. He ain't playing. Like, or she, I don't know what species the dragon is, but that dragon's a badass, obviously. Like, you got to see how big. Like, I like Daemon's dragon, the way it is, like, the way it's set up. That dragon's just made differently, you know what I'm saying, with a longer neck and tail and everything else. Like, I like that dragon because of that, but, like, nah, bro, this dragon right here comes busting in the scene. That's one of the coolest things, too, is, like, the dragon scene on here when you see Daemon and her, like, flying the Big Daddy dragon and flying around. The Big Daddy dragon comes out of nowhere and it's like, damn, who was that? Like, shit, that dragon's badass, bro. But like, I wonder who, like, so because she's gone now, does someone take over the mantle of that dragon? Like, could, like, her daughter, you saw her daughter with an egg.
Basically, that's how it is.
Yeah, so like basically, somebody else.
When the rider dies, you can just any of the Targaryens can hop on. If they claim it.
Well, I mean, if the dragon allows it, correct? Like, I mean, the dragon ain't got to be like, yo, bro, you a chump. I don't want you riding.
No, I mean, I think honestly,
does the dragon not have a say so?
I don't. Well, because you seen like when Jon Snow just hopped on right on the dragon, just like nothing. Like I think.
Yeah, honestly, but like, I mean, that was kind of like because that was kind of like the dragon sensed that like his.
Yeah, but I'm saying they can send the exactly. That's what I'm saying. Any Targaryen, I think you can just hop right on, like no problem.
I don't know, man, but like, yeah, you might be right. I mean, I don't know that maybe that's something interesting. Like, I'm finding out that I want to see more and more of these fucking dragon trainers, man. Like, I want to see more scenes and like things that these dragon trainers are doing because like there's things that we could have answered about the dragons. But the most important scene that I think coming out of here, like you said, the training in that episode, mine is, to be honest with you, this scene right here, pretty much at the very end, like that lets me know like where this dude right here, what he's about. He ain't about that good shit. I know that he's an evil little bastard, and like you said, the burning down of like the burning the fire in Harrenhal that kills the two of the Strongs, the Hand of the King, and the lover of the princess. Like, I think that's going to be the real kickoff, right? Like, you're kind of right. The training session, the fight that him and Cole have is what kind of sparks everything to get into motion to get to this. But I think this is what really, like, if they would have went to Harrenhal and this little slimy bastard doesn't do what he does and have them, like, burned alive and everything in a fire, like, I think things could still be okay somewhat, right? Maybe people still ain't happy, but they ain't, like, you know, fisticuffs. They're not battle mad. I think after this, it's going to be like, oh, blood mad. Like, listen here, we having to do some shit. Who did this? We're going to try to find this out and everything else. So, like, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, the next episode, I think that's the most important scene. But like I said, your scene is pretty important because, like I said, we have the green and blacks. You got to see them portrayed pretty much out there right now in that training sequence with the green and the black wardrobe that they were wearing, the kids were wearing. That's going to become a big thing. Like I said, there's going to be one side called the greens, other side called the blacks. Then we had this happen at Harrenhal. We got the curse brought up on Harrenhal. That damn place, bro, it never gets away with shit, man. It's all the time something bad happening over there. But every Lord of
Harrenhal, you know, dies in some weird way. You know.
But you have that happening. You have the thing that happens with Daemon's wife, which now I think that you're correct. After this happens, I think Daemon's ends up going to go back to Westeros and everything else and like get involved in some of this. It would seem to me because he was wearing the red, he's been wearing the black, like that he would probably align with the blacks. And I do think him and Rhaenyra has like a bond. So like it would seem to me that he would align with her out of everybody. So like maybe her side's going to get stronger because he comes back and joins on her side. That's what I'd be expecting, but you never know in damn Game of Thrones, to be honest with you. It could just be a three-way battle here for the throne, basically. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for the next episode because I don't think we're going to get all this like culmination in the next episode, but we're going to get, like, it went to a point. People were killed. We're back to the Game of Thrones that we're used to. People died, okay? Now, like, because of that, what's going to happen because of that? I think we're going to get more about who's about what and what about what and everything else. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see, like, where it goes from here. But do you have any, like, last things, anything we might have skipped, Caleb, before we get out of here?
I think we get everything.
I think we pretty much covered it, everything, without actually spoiling it. Like, we're obviously spoiling the episode that we just watched, because that's fine. It's out. Everybody can watch it before they come watch this. But the thing about it is like, we don't want to get into, like, too much of the spoilery, like what might happen in the next episode. Because, like I said, Caleb's been reading the books that he might know. And I even know some of the history that went on during this time. I just haven't never read the book. So, like, we got that stuff going on, but we want to be careful not to overstep our bounds so that you can watch this safely. But thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for watching, that do watch either live or after we air it and put it on the YouTube channel. Just appreciate all the love and support. And with that being said, until next time, peace.